It's very interesting because nobody seen United win this game, but
Really?
I've seen United making progress, not just because of the form of United and the form of Liverpool now. Also, the power scale is like, okay, we know Liverpool are not really in good shape now, but there's no way they're losing to you.
But if the time was going to happen, it did feel like now.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, it's not so much that it was an impossibility, because you can always lose a match.
Oh yeah.
But you can also say, like you said, Liverpool's in bad form right now. But you're like, dude, United is in abysmal form. So it really was like both of them walked into this battle already wounded.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a very interesting performance. I don't. Go ahead and give me your thoughts first.
Well, for starters, I could see United winning the game in the condition will be Liverpool in bad shape as they are right now because of integration of the team, the new players. They're not really clicking together. Now, Manchester United has been playing good for the last 2 to actually I would say this. They've been playing good actually. It's just that they are not efficient enough. And if you look at the stats, even on they have the most I think shot on the goal or shot in the Premier League right now. They just shots are not, if you had to put on a scale of percentage of efficient shot, they're not just efficient because they're not going towards the goal, but they're shooting.
Yeah, they can't shoot straight, but they're shooting a lot.
They're creating, right? They're just taking impossible shot from anywhere just because probably they're facing good defense. But you can see there's an improvement. And then one thing that I would say, Robert Amorim kind of changed the formation for this game. He played a 3-4-2-1 instead of what he wants to play. That also shows that he's really, really probably to start adapting to what he has and what he sees, what he can make do with what he has. So
it seems like he's trying to split the difference as well with the back line. Euro didn't start.
Yes.
But Luke Shaw did, and you have to think that even though it's a 3-man back, he did put a fullback in that back line, so he's obviously aware of. With Dallo and Diallo, they got to really figure out how to make those names different. With them riding up so high, you do need somebody in that back line when you're one person down that has some pace. Now, Luke Shaw is not the best defender.
Yeah.
Luke Shaw is not the best anything, and I don't mean that disrespectfully.
I see what you're saying.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
He may not be the last guy that you want with a one-on-one with a striker heading in on net, but he has some pace to at least hold up somebody as best they can, so you can decide then what is Lemon's going to come up to rush the striker, is Casemiro going to be able to get back in time? So it did seem like he was understanding of the lack of pace with the 3-man back. That said, it was still open quite a bit. And I think with a more in form Liverpool, but more importantly, a more attacking minded and
they're probably not getting out of that game alive. But you think about it now. You said it. Yes, Euro didn't play, but you think about it. If I'm the coach, I want to put experience, not because I don't think Euro wouldn't be better. Because he's young, he's got pace or whatever, but he doesn't have the experience of this type of games. And if you are the coach right now, the way you're on the hot seat, you want to win, or at least provide some sort of difficulties for the opponent. You can't just put anyone just to put. The fact that you are just the formation tells me, hey, I want to do something in the game. And the good thing, and one thing I would say, the way he put Bemo and Cunha dropping as a 10, sometimes providing more of the midfield, because what he did, he stacked the midfield because he knew we don't have pace. But if we can stop them at the midfield or press them, if you look at that Gravenberch when he had the ball, I think it's either Cunha or Bemo, I can't remember. It's Cunha actually pressing him, even though the whole. So he was kind of stuck there and trying to figure out where should I send the ball.
Yeah, Cunha was doing a lot of little things that don't add up to a lot of stats people. Things that don't add up to fantasy leagues. Really, what he was doing what in a much better way Kai Havertz was doing last season. It's not so much that me as a number 9 really trying to get in behind defenders and put the ball in the back of the net. It's how can I be as annoying as possible? How can I get in people's way? Because what's going to happen is, because Fernandez can thread passes like nobody's business.
Definitely.
So you need somebody that's going to, take pressure off of Mount and Mbeumo and not necessarily be a goal scoring threat, but when you have a defender, one-on-one, two defenders one-on-one with two attackers, you need somebody like that that's going to be able to pull Konate and Van Dijk off of their individual marking with no intention of actually scoring. It's just all it is. It's running interference, and it's crossing up passing lanes, and it's crossing up defensive marksmanship. That's exactly what happened. There were plenty of times where Liverpool's back line were caught out of position, marking the wrong person because Cunha's in the way, just causing a bunch of distractions.
You know what I did observe though? I think United played I think this was more tactical, I may say, if my observation is right.
Yeah.
Playing from the back, they did not, because you don't obviously have the technical players to play from the back.
Yeah.
But also doing the long shot from the goalkeeper upwards. You are thinking, wait, that's kind of dumb, because at the front, I don't have players that aerial on the air, they're good. Yeah. But I think his point was that exactly. I would throw it at them because when it's in the air, you will hit it back. So once you hit it back, Mbeumo will get it.
Second ball recovery.
He's thinking of the second ball. And that's probably where they would cut a lot out of position, because the second ball hit, there's a threaded pass or there's some sort of threat provided.
They knew that as soon as they sent the ball out deep from goal, that they could either get those second passes or, at this point with this Liverpool midfield, if you apply a little bit of pressure, they can't connect anything together, because the Liverpool of old would use their pace and would use their rapid energy to connect those passes to where you couldn't afford to turn the ball over anywhere. But now, if you send the ball deep and they're just outside their own box and you put a little bit of pressure on them, they can't put three passes together.
That's true. And I think Isaac is not playing as a $150 million player or $euro, whatever he's not just playing that money, and they're not really connected at the top. Gakpo had a lot of chances. So what I would say, because a lot of people I think, well, Liverpool or the watch, they're not doing this, or they're crashing, or something is wrong. First of all, you have a lot of players that you're putting in. You want to integrate Kirkes, Frimpong, Ekitike, Isaac, all that at the same time, while you took out a lot of key players, which it might be 2 or 3, but that's a lot for a team. So there's no stability in the team right now, first of all. And while you're trying to integrate these players, they still don't know how to play together. So if they had won this game, I don't think a lot of people, even the pundit, would have said, oh, well, Liverpool's not playing great. No, you would have said they're playing great, although there's still this deficiency. So there's a time for everything. I think this is your time for transition, because the coach never had a transition. Well, so this is his transition time.
And it's interesting when you overhaul multiple levels of your squad. It'd be one thing if they had the same back line, or realistically, if they'd figured out the back line last season, you brought Mark Gahey in, you had time to figure out that Kirkes is either ready or not, and you figure out something from either the academy or something in January of last season, so that if Isak and Wirtz were not connecting, because they're not connecting now.
No.
Then at least the problem is up top, and you're not conceding a bunch of goals. The issue is that it's on both fronts. They can't connect anything in that final third between many of the new signings, and then the back line is in shambles because the fullbacks are absolutely abysmal.
Yes.
But also, Konate's never been the best decision maker.
Yes.
And Van Dijk is always at his absolute best when he has someone reliable with him, and he doesn't have that right now. And everybody's made their rounds about Konate. Bayern wanted him. Of course, they signed Upamecano, and that's a different thing entirely. But Madrid want him, and I don't think that's necessarily an awful decision. But because he'd have more reliable defenders around him to where he's not caught out of position. Because just like Van Dijk, when he's out of position, he's not a man of great pace, we shall say. So it's like they both feel like they need to be in perfect positioning at all times. But I think that Konate's response is being a bit more proactive, to the point that he's pulled out of position. He's not running out like he doesn't know what he's doing like Upamecano does. He'll just start running up, feeling like, what are you doing? You're out of position. Like Konate, you can tell that he's trying to make something happen. So he's putting himself in a bad position by trying to get into a better position. And Van Dijk avoids a potentially better position to just stay in that one position and be comfortable, safer the better. But when your partner is not doing that, and then your guy on your left and right is unreliable, you're going to be conceding these things. But yeah, like every single step of their play is in some sort of growing pain at the moment.
Yeah. I mean, they also have to adjust like their football philosophy and ideology. The reason is because your two left and right back, or your two fullback, they're not like the ones you had. Those ones were offensive minded. So when you have the ball on the wings, Trent will make either a pass.
Yeah.
But these guys, they're not really, that's not your style. So you have to adjust. So everything is really coming from the top instead from the back to the top.
Like, so this is what I've been saying since the start of the season, and because it was a theory, and now it feels like it's more in practice. Everybody said that how impressive it was that Slot won the Premier League last season.
Yeah.
And they made it look easy for a little bit until they didn't. In the last bit, they kind of the title was never in jeopardy, but they kind of limped over the finish line. You could tell that their squad was threadbare. So getting new players into the roster was never up for discussion. You had to. Yeah. The roster was very thin. However, the roster that was there that was very thin was immaculately curated by Klopp.
Yeah.
So this is his first round of people, and really what he ended up doing was he ended up getting 2 years worth of signings in one summer.
Yeah.
And that rarely works for anybody. But I think that you start to see here there's less Klopp in this.
Yes.
Not only just tactically, but the personnel, because that was the thing. Because you could tell that he changed tactically to suit his needs in that first season. But that squad was completely Klopp.
Yeah.
So they at least had that camaraderie and that understanding with each other, so that when they were doing something new, they still maintained their shorthand and their understanding of, well, regardless of the tactics, this is what he likes to do.
Yeah.
He prefers that I do this. The ball should be here, whether we're, whether the tactics are more offensive, defensive, or somewhere in between. But now you have new players in. You have tactics running against the grain of what the older players were doing there. And you're starting to see a lack of cohesion within them. But I think that almost any manager has that issue. When you bring in 8 new players,
that's what I said,
in one summer, you're gonna have issues.
This is a period of transition because you got to figure out the personality of players, from the personality to the way they play to how can I integrate it to my philosophy of play, to what I want to bring. And so that's just what is happening. But another thing though, if I were him, I would have never bought Isaac. I'm sorry to say this, but Ekitike at the beginning of the season did fine for me. And actually when he got up, you see how the match changed.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Isaac is not fit yet. Although in the future, I'm not saying he don't have potential. He has potential in the next 7-8 matches. I could be proven wrong, but right now he's not
I actually think that the issue was not so much Isak taking over for Ekitike. I think Ekitike won. He is their best signing by far, and we can have a different conversation about Isak in a minute. But I think it's less about them getting along together than, Ekitike needs to start over Wirtz.
Yeah.
If you're going to have like Ekitike as a number 10, if you're having him as a number 9, I think that he starts in both those positions. I think that at this moment, he is performing better in both of those roles completely differently, like completely separated from each other, than Isak and Wirtz. So here's a question. Because I've been called crazy for saying, like, when can I finally say that you need to be starting Ekitike and you bring Isak in off the bench until things change?
No, like that's what I thought when I saw this game.
Because I've been thinking for weeks, and people are like, "You're crazy." It's like, when am I not crazy? Yeah. Is it now? Now?
When I saw that sub, I said, "This is what you need to do," because Isaac is not yet in great shape or he's not fit. You start Ekitike every time.
Yeah.
You bring him at the 60th, 70th minute, and he gets his play time until he gets fit.
Yeah, within 5 minutes of Ekitike being on,
you could tell the difference.
Oh, wow, there it is. That's what was missing.
Yes.
So and I think that he makes those chances because on paper they're very different. Because he was more of an attacking midfielder, he had a bit more passing options. He was more of a finesse player than a great finisher. In the Bundesliga, and so there's room for all three of those players together. I do think that Wirtz and Ekitike on paper step on each other's toes more.
Yeah.
And $100 million is $100 million. I don't think that anybody should be obligated to start somebody based on how much money they paid for them. I think that the market's in absolute shambles, but that's never going to change.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, the people that are losing money are people that can lose money, and most of the time deserve to lose money.
Yeah.
So I'm not sweating the whole, well, all the money's gone. It's like, there's not a club on the face of the planet that I worry about their finances for them.
Yeah,
fuck them.
That's true.
But yeah, I think that Ekitike, regardless of where he is, if he's a 9, if he's a 10, he has to be a starter above the other two that are kind of foundering at the moment.
I definitely think that's so. And that was my sentiment when I watched that game. I said, put that guy first.
Wherever you put him on the pitch, just put him there.